The slap echoed through the park like a gunshot, sharp, sudden, and suffocating. Every head turned. Mothers froze mid-conversation, joggers slowed their pace, and the sound of a basketball bouncing on the court fell silent. 12-year-old Malik stood there, eyes wide, hand clutching his cheek, not from the sting of the officer's palm, but from the disbelief that someone sworn to protect could so easily turn into his attacker. It was supposed to be an ordinary Saturday afternoon. Malik had come to Riverside Park with his friends to play basketball, laugh, and forget about homework. The autumn air carried the faint smell of barbecue from a nearby cookout. Music drifted through the air, old-school R&B, the kind his mom loved to dance to when she cleaned the house. Everything was normal, until it wasn't. Officer Daniels had been patrolling the area for weeks, his reputation already whispered among the kids: short temper, fast hands, and a chip on his shoulder big enough to block the sun. He wasn't the type to smile. He didn't ask questions, he barked orders. And today, when Malik reached for his water bottle beside a woman's purse left on the bench, Daniels assumed the worst. "Hey, what do you think you're doing?" the officer shouted, storming toward him. Malik froze, startled. "I was just..." Before he could finish, the officer grabbed him by the collar. "Don't lie to me, boy." Then came the slap. A hard one, so hard Malik stumbled back, eyes burning with tears he refused to let fall. The crowd gasped. Someone shouted, "Hey, you can't do that." A woman began recording on her phone. Malik's friends ran to his side, pulling him away as Daniels glared down, chest heaving. "Should have stayed out of trouble," the officer muttered, as if he'd done something noble. But what Daniels didn't know, what no one in that moment knew, was that the boy he had just humiliated was the son of the city's newly appointed police chief, Marcus Reed. Chief Reed had been sworn in just 2 days earlier. His appointment was historic, the city's first black police chief in over 120 years. He'd worked his way up from patrol, driven by a vision to heal the broken trust between law enforcement and the community. He believed in reform, transparency, and empathy. And above all, he believed that every uniformed officer had a responsibility not just to enforce the law, but to embody its humanity. That Saturday, he was supposed to meet Malik and his wife, Dana, at the park after a city meeting. He wanted to surprise Malik with a new basketball he'd picked up on the way. When he arrived, he noticed the tension in the air before he even saw his son. People were gathered in clusters, murmuring, phones out, recording. His stomach sank. "Chief Reed," someone called out, "you might wanna see this." He followed their gaze. His heart stopped. There was Malik, sitting on the bench, face red, eyes wet. Dana was beside him, trembling with anger and fear. Marcus dropped the basketball. "What happened?" Malik's lip quivered. He hit me, Dad." The crowd parted like waves, revealing Officer Daniels standing stiffly a few yards away, realizing too late who had just entered the scene. The nameplate on his chest suddenly felt heavier than his badge. "Chief Reed," Daniels stammered. "Sir, I didn't know." "Didn't know what, officer?" Marcus's voice was low, calm, but deadly sharp. "Didn't know he was my son. Or didn't know it's wrong to put your hands on a child." "Sir, it was a misunderstanding. The kid, he was acting suspicious. I thought he was stealing." "Acting suspicious?" Marcus stepped closer. "Tell me, officer, what exactly does suspicious look like to you?" Daniels had no answer. The crowd was silent, phones still rolling. Marcus turned to his son. Kneeling in front of him. "Malik, look at me. Are you okay?" Malik nodded weakly, though his voice trembled. "It hurts, Dad. Not just here," he touched his cheek, "but here." He pointed to his chest. "Why did they hate us so much?" Marcus felt the sting of tears rising in his own eyes. He'd faced prejudice his entire career, had swallowed the bitterness of racism for the sake of the badge, believing he could make a difference from the inside. But now, seeing his son, the most innocent part of his life, hurt by the very system he'd sworn to lead, the weight of it all nearly crushed him. He stood and faced Daniels. "You're suspended. Effective immediately." "Chief, save it," Marcus snapped. "You just slapped the son of the man trying to rebuild the bridge between this department and our community. You didn't just fail your badge today, you set us all back." Daniels tried to speak again, but Marcus cut him off. "You'll have your hearing. But if you ever wear this uniform again, it'll be because you've learned what it truly means to serve, not to judge. The video went viral within hours. News headlines read, "Police chief's son assaulted by officer," and "Justice at the park." Protests were planned, not out of hatred, but solidarity. People from every corner of the city, black, white, young, old, came together in support of Malik and the chief's vision for change. Marcus faced pressure from both sides, activists demanding accountability and officers worried about morale. But he stood firm. At the next press conference, with Malik and Dana sitting in the front row, he addressed the city. "Yesterday, an officer's actions reminded us how far we still have to go. But my son reminded me why we can't stop fighting to get there. Reform isn't about revenge, it's about responsibility. If we truly want safety, we must start with respect." His words struck deep. Over the following months, Chief Reed introduced new community programs, mandatory empathy training, youth outreach initiatives, and a policy requiring every officer to spend at least one day a month volunteering without a badge. Slowly, the department began to change. As for Officer Daniels, he attended a disciplinary review board. Instead of immediate termination, Marcus offered him a choice: resign or complete a full year of re-education and community work. To everyone's surprise, Daniels chose the latter. By the end of that year, something in him had shifted. One afternoon, he showed up at the same park, this time not in uniform, but in jeans and a t-shirt, coaching kids basketball. Malik was there too. When their eyes met, there was an awkward pause. Then Daniels walked over, holding a ball. "Mind if I shoot a few rounds?" Malik hesitated, then nodded. "Sure." The two played quietly for a while. Then Daniels said softly, "I'm sorry, Malik. I was wrong. I let fear make me blind." Malik looked at him, not with anger, but with the wisdom of someone far older than 12. "Just don't be blind anymore." Daniels smiled faintly. "Deal." Months later, the park was livelier than ever. Families laughed, kids played, and a new mural stretched across the old basketball court, a painting of a young boy holding a basketball under the words, "Justice begins with understanding." Malik stood beside his father, watching the sunset. "You think things will ever really change, Dad?" Marcus smiled, resting a hand on his son's shoulder. "They already are, son. One truth, one heart, one moment at a time." And as the evening light faded over Riverside Park, the sound of bouncing basketballs and laughter filled the air once more, this time, not as echoes of fear, but as the rhythm of hope reborn.